Welcome to today's podcast. I am joined by fellow Glaswegian, Mr. Tommy Butler. Tommy, thanks for taking the time to come on.
Thanks very much, Craig, for having us. And
no
hello,
worries.
everyone.
So I'm sure they'll all enjoy what you've got to say. I'm pretty sure it's a boring old subject, domain names, but guys like yourself who make a lot of money from it always have good stories to tell and stuff like that. So for anybody that's not aware of who you are, Tommy, can you just give people a bit of a background of what you do and how you how you make money, basically?
Yeah, well, basically, we own probably the one that we're most famous for is owning Glasgow.com. Obviously, owning your hometown does give you one hell of a buzz, but owning several other towns as well makes it actually even better. And when you look at the whole UK wide who actually owns the city.coms, they're mostly owned by Americans or one or two other folk. So there's not a lot of people in the UK that actually own their city.coms. There's about 3 or 4 what I would classify domainers owning them, and that is really hit. So I'm a domainer, which sounds a wee bit, what is it? What is a domainer? But then the domain community sort of breaks into different kinds of domainers, and I know that sounds strange. So I'm what you call a geodomainer. I like buying geodomains, as in geolocations, along with some product names, and that's basically what domainers do. They buy domain names, and that's what I've been doing for the last 20 years. And I actually got into this by accident.
I think getting into it by accident is probably the best way to do it. I get into SEO by accident as well, or kind of stumbled across it. But it's amazing how a wee kind of path you get led down ends up becoming your full-time career. But I want to go back to something you just said earlier. Is there any reason why you think it's Americans that have got all the kind of city domain names and all the good stuff rather than maybe guys about here? Because obviously we've had this conversation on the side. Like there's, why somebody here no got Glasgow.com or Edinburgh.com or any of the other stuff? Why is it Americans?
I think probably what happened, Craig, is if you go back to like 95 when the internet really took off in the States, by the time it took to sort of come over the pond, as they say, 95 was when most of the .coms were basically registered, all the good quality .coms. And the beauty with that was back in 95, all these domain names were totally free. They were giving them away for nothing. Just think about that for a minute. And there was a good few folk in the States that went and registered 500, 1,000, 2,000 generic keywords, product names, service names away back then, and they got them for nothing. So in 1995, .com domains were totally free. Just think about that for a minute,
Mm-hmm.
And then they went up to £100, $100 a per domain. If you get in at 96, 97, 98, I didn't get into it to 99, and I thought I was a bit late because by that time all the good quality names were gone. But like everything else, I knew there was going to be a crash, and it was a case of working on a strategy. I've always worked on a strategy. I think that's always crucial,
You've got to have a kind of purpose or a kind of way to do it. But like, see when you're saying they were giving them away for free, like could I, if I was, into the internet back then, which I wasn't, I don't even think I had the internet in 95. I think I was about 97 and I get dial-up connection. But,
same here.
But in 95, could you just go and order 1,000 of them? Like, was there a limit? Or
I think back then you had to apply with old fax machine and apply for one at a time. And it was, I think, from what I've been told, it was you had to fill in the details, fax it across, and then they would get back to you and say, confirm that you've got it. And it was, it was still in its infancy. This was it becoming, this was the start of it. And there was a lot of fantastic young guys who were like 17 and 20 odds who are now all multi-millionaires because they realised they had the hindsight to get names, like, names that would make them a million straight away. And that's what you've got to look at. You've got to look at, we're still in the infancy of the internet. We're still in nappy mode. And if you look at it in the next 20 years, it's just going to be unbelievable. And the prices of domains are going to be unbelievable in the next 20 years.
So you reckon even now we're still in infancy mode?
Yeah, total infancy mode. You know,
Um,
e-commerce hasn't even really started yet, to be honest with you, at the level it should be at. And if folk think it's bad just now, I mean, e-commerce only takes up like between 15 and 18% of the web. In the next 5 years, it'll be up to maybe 40, and then when it starts getting over the 60%, you really want to have, even at this day and age, a really good name that sets you apart from anything else. That's really it.
I know it's interesting. I don't look into the stats of how many e-commerce websites are out there, but obviously I've been working in SEO for a while, and I still, even locally and stuff like that, there's still businesses that don't even have websites, let alone anything else. And I would totally agree that I think things are still in their infancy, although everybody thinks it's a massively competitive market. As we both know, there's not a huge amount of guys, certainly locally where we are, who are buying domain names at the kind of level you're buying them at, or even would know where to look for a domain name, let alone do anything else with it. So I think obviously it's good to have guys like yourself sharing tips and that just now, so that the youth that are out there today can look into this and obviously try and grab themselves a wee bargain. Well, not a bargain, because it still will cost you a fair few quid, but try and get in there before maybe in another 20 years it maybe cost you 5 million for a good domain name or whatever. I mean, what kind of top domain names, what are they selling for? What's a kind of ballpark figure?
Well, the most one that I thought was really interesting was about 4 or 5 weeks ago. Voice.com
Mm-hmm.
sold for, was it 30? You ready for this? $30 million in cash, right?
Jeez.
And the broker for it was done through GoDaddy, right? And the broker put there's a video up online, and I think this is brilliant because before he accepted they accepted the $30 million, they had to knock back $29 million. Now think about that for a moment. They knocked back an offer at $29 million, and they eventually settled for $30 million. Now, if you go back 30 years ago, that name was totally free. It was
Mm-hmm.
the person got it for nothing, but I think it was another big tech company and two tech companies, and I think a Bitcoin company were starting up. And obviously, if you look at voice as everything becoming voice activated, it's a fantastic name for whatever they're going to use it for.
Right, no, I mean, it's crazy money. I've heard of other domain names like sex.com or whatever, went for tens of millions
Yeah,
years ago, and various other ones. It's really, kind of silly money that people are paying, but hugely brandable as well. Do you know what I mean? That's a good thing about the kind of very kind of short domain names, and even the
short
ones.
names are absolutely brilliant for branding. And I think the coming from I used to be a screen printer way back in the days, and to me there's still quite a lot of people in the design business that still look at digital as paper format branding, and it
Mhm.
doesn't work. And I think that's one of the things that it's crucial about make sure you have the right domain that doesn't have like 24/7 on the front of it, or how do I put it, that YP1 something. You know what I mean. It might look
Aye.
good on a paper format on a brochure, but it doesn't work online, and that's
Aye.
why it's crucial to have the actual name, or the two words or whatever else that you want for your business.
I know. I think obviously the one that you've got, Glasgow.com. Obviously, being a Glasgow guy myself, it's massively jealous. And as I say, you probably have all sorts of people banging at your door for that one. I know in the press and stuff in the past they were talking about that being a £1 million domain name, or close to those kind of figures.
Yeah,
Is that still the case? You reckon?
it's still the case, Craig. In fact, I get when somebody sends me a serious offer, what I do is I print it off, right? And I'll be honest with you, when we bought Glasgow.com, I didn't realise what I was buying, right? Because I had about another 150 Glasgow names, and I had other names which were really good. And when I bought Glasgow.com, it was only about 2 weeks after it I realised what I was actually sitting with. it just took my domain portfolio to a different level, and it opened doors for us in certain places as well. But it also taught me a lot, because that's when I discovered there was what you call there was groups. Domainers sort of splitted into different groups, and there was all these guys the guys that owned like Acapulco, Nashville, New York, the guy that owns Edinburgh. So it opened up a brilliant network of geo owners, and I can tell you the geo owner network. If you can you imagine if all the geo owners all connected up together globally, that would out surpass any digital business at a global scale, because each one of them represents their own city, and that's what the Associated Cities was all about. Unfortunately, it disbanded a couple of years ago, but hopefully it maybe go back again in some other format. But it opened up a lot of things with regards to advertising, digital strategies, and some of these guys, when you look at their portfolio, man, it's like, yeah, I just sit there and go, wow, because I look at likes of London.com, that's what I call a grade one, New York, grade one, Glasgow, I classify as a grade two. It's a high grade two, but it's what I call it's a grade two. It's there, but it's no a capital city, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I'm pleased with getting it.
I know it's as I say, a belter, and as I say, locally, I'm jealous. But I mean, what would be the kind of plans to monetize that? How are you going to?
It's
Obviously, you've paid a few quid for it, like, and nobody wants to pay a few quid just to sit there and tell guys down the pub they've got Glasgow.com. How do people like you then make
it's
money for that?
Well, the trouble with Glasgow is it's a a love hate relationship with this bloody name. It's because sometimes you can be too close to something that,
Hmm.
and what I discovered was the way that I worked on a strategy. As I said at the beginning, you've always got to have a strategy. With Glasgow.com, that was the final piece of the jigsaw puzzle, right? Because we had like Glasgow pubs, and we still have Glasgow clubs, Glasgow bars, Glasgow restaurants, Glasgow shops, like an A to Z basically. So they were all cross-linking across and everything else. And then eventually we managed, it took us 2 years to buy Glasgow.com. And Nat Cohen, one of the world's top domainers, I mean, his portfolio, man, is unbelievable. And eventually Nat agreed to sell us it, sort of thing. And, we went and let everything else, went and saw our bank manager and says, can we get a loan to buy this name? I've got X amount of money. And they went, aye, fine. And we bought the name. And what basically happened was we didn't tell anybody, because you know yourself, when you're doing digital stuff, you don't really shout for the heavens what you're doing. And then about
Hmm.
6 weeks later, a guy for the Times phoned us up and went, I see you on Glasgow.com. And I went, oh, who told you? And unknown to me, he had contacted Nat, and Nat says, aye, I sold him it. So then the guy asked how much did we buy the name for, Nat told him, and then obviously what happened was there was a big story in the papers that we owned Glasgow.com, sort of thing, and that was really hot. They didn't realise that we had been in business for about 5 years as a like a web design business, as you done back then. And 6 weeks after that thing went in, we had an offer from a Californian brokers offering us $750,000 for the name. And I thought, brilliant, great, what a fantastic return. Went along to see my accountant. My accountant said, yeah, that's great. If you sell it, the taxman will take 40%, and me and your lawyers will take another 10%. And I went, right, okay, I think I'll develop the site first. And when I've been developing the site, I've been working on the strategy, and the strategy is a bit weird because, yeah, I had Glasgow covered, but if I'm wanting to bring tourists and visitors to Glasgow, then I had to look further afield. And that's when we started buying up other places down south, places in Spain and Europe and the USA to attract visitors to Glasgow.com, and at the same time building a platform that allows us to create linkage and everything else, as you know yourself, Craig, with regards to all that sort of stuff. So that's basically what we've done. And then about 6 months ago, we had an offer for China to buy it, and we were tempted, but it's I still love having it.
So no plans to sell it then now, unless you're getting a ridiculous offer.
Yeah, it's one of these ones. I think you need to catch me at my right time. Whether I'm in a good mood with it or whether I'm in a bad mood with it. You know yourself, Craig, when you're doing a lot of development work, sometimes you just need a break and you need a holiday and you need to sort of walk away from things for a week or something just to get the creative juices flowing, if you know what I mean.
Aye,
And sometimes you get a better perspectives of it. And then when I walk around the city and I see how beautiful the buildings are, when the sun's shining and stuff like that. It just, I love it, So it's, yeah, I'm proud to actually own it. And I love promoting the city, but I also love promoting all the small businesses because to me, the small businesses in the city get ignored by the big guys and if you know the ones I'm talking about. And I
yeah,
love promoting. We haven't, I've always believed, being a small business owner myself, that Glasgow.com was bought for to promote all the small businesses and other businesses in Glasgow. And I don't care how big you are or whatever else, you don't dictate to us. We actually do what we want to do because we love doing what we do. And I love it when we promote a small business sort of thing on it because we're having that Glasgow network and the Twitter account and the LinkedIn page over the word Glasgow. There's not a lot of people who have that sort of connection and
yeah.
quality, if you know what I mean.
On that subject, you mentioned the Twitter there, and I think the last time we met, you actually mentioned a wee trick to me how you actually got twitter.com/Glasgow. Is that something you could share
Yeah,
with the
it's
audience?
Twitter wants you to use the accounts. Twitter, I think, would rather people had used the live accounts, if you know what I mean. And there's a lot of dormant accounts on Twitter. And one of the things that we did was some of the accounts that we noticed had been dormant since 2009 or when Twitter basically first started. And we would set up an account with an underscore or whatever else on it and use that for 6 weeks. And after using it for 6 weeks, we would ask Twitter if we could, we would say, look, we own this name. That actually really will work brilliant with us. And 9 times out of 10, Twitter came back to us and said, yeah, on you go, guys, because they want you to use that Twitter account. So as long as you keep using the Twitter accounts and stuff like that, that's what they want you to do. They also want you to retweet other people's posts and stuff like that because it's a community. And that's what I heavily do. I spend a lot of time retweeting other people's posts and connecting up with them to try and get the message across.
I no, I think it's remarkable though. People just not aware of these stupid wee things that you can go and get a dormant domain name. You think obviously Glasgow.com's gone, and that's all there is to it. Where obviously you've tried and obviously probed them and got it. So it's good. It's a good wee kind of hack, I think, for anybody who's building a brand or whatever to try that one out there. And obviously it's worked for you on several occasions. So aye, it's a good one.
It is a good one,
Um,
Craig, for it. And a lot of businesses, like they say, they just accept it. But there's always ways of, if you don't ask, you don't get, if you know what I mean.
aye.
And we just simply asked and they said, yeah, on you go, guys. And I went, brilliant, thank you very much.
Certainly, possibly a Glasgow thing. You don't ask, you don't get,
Yeah, yeah,
and
totally.
you've got to just put it out there and see what happens. There's nothing to lose. But so obviously, all of that kind of stuff's all good and well. But for somebody who's starting out in the industry, where do you start? Where would you start looking for if I'm advising somebody now, somebody says, Craig, I want to get a really good brandable domain name. I mean, where do guys like you look?
Well, what I would first start off with, and I say this to every business every time I'm doing a talk, is I'll turn around and say, like, right, how many of you in the room have a domain name? And what you normally get is the majority, 80% of them will put their hands up. And then if you ask them, how many of these have your business name or the product or the service? And 99% of them will turn and put their hands up that they'll have their business name.
Mm-hmm.
Now your business name is fine, but if you're trying to attract new customers don't look for your business name. They look for the service that you provide. So you mentioned a cracker, which I thought was brilliant, which was Glasgow Builders, right?
Yeah.
Now, I own Glasgow Builders and I've owned it since 1999.
Mm-hmm.
And I can honestly tell you, you were spot on. we no disrespect to Glasgow Builders, but they are not the best at paying for
Yeah,
doing work, and especially when the name brings in like a contract worth 30,000 and 50,000, they look at the domain and go, "No, no, hold on a minute, what am I paying you for?" And you go, "Hold on a minute, guys, you obviously don't understand what is bringing in the business. It's the domain that's bringing in the business because that's the brand of you're a builder. The same with Glasgow Electrician, Glasgow Plumber, etc. Those are the brands for your industry. You've probably seen this, you're driving about and you see the white van man and you look at they've got their business name, they've got their domain name, and then it's a Hotmail account or whatever else, or AOL, and you sit there and go, why have you not just got your domain name added on with your actual address? And it's education, Craig. A lot of people have been given the wrong education with regards to what is brandable online as a business and will get them more traffic. Because what is the value of one click?
exactly. It's one of those things, as you say. One click can be 50 grand. What whatever, or if not more, building a big extension or whatever, and on some big villa or whatever. But people don't see it like that. Obviously, in my experience, people they've got this thing in their head where you've got the websites out there like I can't mind the name off the top of my head, but those builder websites where it goes to three builders and they all give you a quote,
Yep.
and they pay 40 or 50 quid a lead from that, and that's where they see you. In my experience, they think that your leads are worth 40 and 50 quid, even though they could potentially make 30 grand, and it's just sheer greed. And as you say, total inexperience on their part or lack of education. It's beyond a joke. But I think, I've had more success in dealing with professional people, better educated people, lawyers, dentists, and various other things when I was looking at the kind of paper lead model that I used to do. Because back in the day, when I started out in SEO, keyword rich domain names, you slapped a page up and you had position one, without doing anything other than slapping a page up, which was amazing at the time. But as I say, it's other people introduced it. Was a failed business model for me because it was all based around local builders and stuff. That's how I jumped into it.
Yep. And that,
Uh,
I totally agree with that, Craig. And that's why, our strategy has sort of changed over the 20 years. We've been sort of ruthless over the last 3 years with regards to changing our strategy to move away from. I love hyper local, right, which is good for one thing, but we looked at when you certain domains that we now look at as being part of a way of building other places, etc., to maximise a better revenue for us. So we've sort of focused more on hotels, car hire, geographical locations, and a couple of niche products that we've owned for a long time, but we've never really done it, like e-commerce sort of type kind of names, if you know what I mean. So we got rid of the sort. Although I've got that name and stuff like that, it's not the sort of area that we sort of aim and target at any longer. I agree with you. Professional businesses and services, they understand it a lot better because they're starting to get educated on it. And I think some of the guys that I know that are lawyers, when it comes to domain names and stuff like that, they're way ahead of us because some of them have been into it since '95. And it's great to, when you can actually speak to them and they know exactly what you're talking about. I think it's superb.
it's a much better conversation to have than people going, well, what's a domain name and all that kind of stuff. But another question I've got for you, obviously, I work in the SEO industry and I go to private masterminds, I go to SEO conferences, I do all that kind of stuff to
Yeah.
keep on top of the game. Is there similar for like domainers? Like, is there special wee clubs and all that?
Oh, there is. It's an interesting one because they're not as popular as the SEO. Don't get me wrong. The majority of domainers go to the SEO conferences, if you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
because most domainers are running digital companies, advertising companies, and platforms and stuff like that as well. So I would probably say about 60% of domainers go to the SEO conferences like the one in Brighton and stuff like that. But when it comes to domains, there is a couple of, you've got NamesCon, which is which is basically brought up about mostly all the domain conferences, and they run a sort of global one. There's always one in Europe. There's once a year. There's one in Houston this year, or is that next year? And then Domain King Rich Watts has started up another new one. When you listen to this guy is the ultimate domainer. The names that he's owned, like property.com, candy.com, you name it. This guy's made like 20, 30 million just selling domain names, and he's still got a fantastic portfolio. And he has an opinion which he says bullshit. You've actually got pigeon shit domains. That's the ones that have got an 8, a 2, a 3. The sort of kind that you wouldn't register and I wouldn't register.
Aye.
They just don't make any sense. But and he's just done a brilliant podcast there just now, which was he was going back to his early days, and he's always been right. He's had a plan. He's had a 20-year plan. And like if you take Michael and David Castellano, they own like Palm Springs, Acapulco. They were the guys that sold whiskey.com. They sold rooms.com there just now as well, and they've just sold another one for 7 figures. And when you hear these guys' stories, it's just amazing to listen to it. And the domain community is really quite open. And somebody will help you out and they'll give you good advice and stuff like that, And there's what you call the old timers, the guys that have been in it for 20 years. So it really is a brilliant community, because when you look at some of the domainers are actually the guys that created the web. It's that tech, and you've got the real techs, the guys that are all ICANN members and everything else that go to all the ICANN meetings, because they're interested in the safeguarding the neutrality of the web. So it's amazing when you hear some of these guys talk at a conference, and it just blows your brains away what they were doing back in 1980s, if you know what I mean, creating it
Aye.
all. So yeah, it's good. It's good to hear the guys their stories with regards to how they get into domains, and when you look at what they're doing now, it's fantastic.
And see, on top of that, obviously, when you get .co.uk domains, I know you're not a big fan of them now, but when .co.uk domain names drop, you've got guys out there drop catching and doing all sorts of weird shit in the background that basically allows them to get a domain name before the general public or the general guy that doesn't understand how it all works. Is there a similar... What I would want to know is, see, for guys like you who are, in that club, if you like,
Yeah.
is there a special place where you guys go and you get access to the good stuff first before it comes out to the general guys like me?
Nope, it's the same rules because money talks. It's you get the list of the drop catch lists like everybody else that applies for them. You get the drop catch auctions and you go in and bid against everybody else. And what's one of the things that's happened over the last couple of years is before the domain names used to just drop, if you know what I mean, and the registers would allow them to drop. Now the registers are saying there's more money to be made on reselling those drop names as and what happens now is they put them up to auction, and because if somebody's built a website, it's got linkage and everything else, it's got traffic, that saves a lot of work compared to sort of, and obviously if the name's quite good, folk will buy it, whether it be $200, $50, $1,000, and now and again you'll get a free letter.com dropping. I think last year a two-letter.com dropped. Now think about that. A two-letter.com dropped. I think it went for 600,000. So you always get once in a blue moon some beautiful, fantastic domain names drop. And like everyone else, I'll look at all the lists and I'll look at the sort of stuff that I'm looking for. And I think I'm quite lucky with some of the names that I've got that I've managed to get as a drop or a hand registration.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, I look for domain names for a very different reason for you. Slightly different reason. Just that I want, obviously, the backlinks and all that kind of stuff to repurpose it as a kind of PBN, or I might repurpose it as an affiliate website as long as it's got decent history and decent domain metrics. I mean, I use different tools like Spamzilla to look at domain names that are in auction. That obviously Spamzilla pulls in the APIs for GoDaddy.
Yeah.
Is that the same tools that you guys are using?
Well, no, I'm actually on a couple of lists where I actually get them sent, Craig.
Right.
If you know what I mean, and that's what I do. It's like GoDaddy is like, how do I put it? GoDaddy's got one of these things where it sells names. It'll sell name's there if you want to buy one, but then it tries to make out that the domains don't have any value in another sense, if you know what I mean. Like when you use the GoDaddy evaluation tool, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is so out of date, and it's no realistic compared to what a domain name sells for. And that's because they then try and sell you another name that's very similar at a fraction of the cost so that you'll take you'll bite it. So it's like everything else, the majority of folk probably don't use GoDaddy tools with regards to it. There's other companies, if you go to like DN Journal, Names Pro and stuff like that, you read up on it, you'll get all the information that you need. Get into Acorn Domains as well, where most of the UK domainers hang out. So there's a lot of domain forums for sad gits like myself. And you'll get some brilliant information because the community is 99% really quite thingy passing out information with regards to it.
Yeah, no, it's interesting stuff. I was just curious to know, as I say, if there is any kind of secret clubs that all you guys are in, because as I say, in the SEO industry, it's kind of cloak and dagger. If you know the right people, you'll get the right stuff and all that. Carry on, but it's good to see that maybe money does talk, and whoever pays the most gets the stuff, and there is no corrupt stuff. Everybody's got a chance then, as long as you've got money, and you're kind of world. But what I mean, see if that's, what's the average cost of a good domain? Yeah, obviously Glasgow.com, you've been offered 750,000 for it or whatever. I mean, what can a normal guy buy a domain for and then flip it for?
You could be lucky to pick up a really good domain. To be honest with you, right, just let's say an average domain, just an average sort of domain, you could pick up for, let's say, anything between 100 quid and 300 quid, right? And you could easily sell it for 900 or 1500, and people wouldn't bat an eyelash at that. It's when
Mhm.
you hit the 2000, 3000, 5000 mark, that's when it's like, oh, can I afford that? If you know what I mean. Like a freeletter.com, going back about 5 years ago, would have set you back £4,000 or £5,000. Now a freeletter.com is selling for, I would say, a minimum 20 to 25,000. Some are selling for 55,000. Some have sold for 600,000. So it just depends on the connotation of the letters as well.
Aye.
Sort of thing. Two-letter.coms are normally now selling for high six figures to seven figures. Now think about that, so it's like there is I look at it, I keep charts, and every now and again the domains jump up massively. Like they'll sort of remain stagnant for about 2 years, and then all of a sudden they'll jump up massively. And I think we're now at the stage where we're now looking at domains. It's a common occurrence to see six-figure sales on practically a weekly basis, and it seems to be heating up as we're talking with regards to it. It seems to be getting more and more, and it'll become a common occurrence in the next 3-4 years that everybody will be buying names at seven figures because
Aye.
as more people come online and more corporate businesses realise what's happening. And if you look at in the States, there's a lot of deals done that nobody knows about, but what's happening is you can now log into those companies' accounts and you can see that those companies have bought domain names at seven figures and they're new assets in the business. Now think about that.
Mhm.
25 years ago, you were sitting there going, see that name? The company's going to list that as one of its main assets in its business. And
Yeah.
that's what's now happening. So, corporate America has woken up to the power of having the right name for the right brand and for the right product. And that's what's happening these days.
But so there is opportunity though for somebody getting in at entry level beginner just to buy and sell
Totally,
domain
Craig.
names, a couple of £100. I mean, what? See when you're buying them for a couple of £100,
Yeah.
what? How long are you holding on to them before you're able to flip them?
Yeah, well, they're locked down for normally about 60 days. So, unless the person's got an account with the same register,
Mm-hmm.
that's sort of common. So, it's I've had I normally wait and sort of check the traffic out on it and stuff like that. Like yourself, I check all the backlinks and see what value it has, and then I try and if it doesn't have all the social sort of accounts, I will go and register all the social accounts to get more of a if someone's wanting to buy it as a brand, if you've got the Twitter account, the LinkedIn account, even the Facebook sort of account and stuff like that. To me, that adds value to a person that's looking for it as a brand.
Yeah.
And I think, I think you're probably 3 months. You know, there's guys that just sit and flip domains all day long without leaving their house. They'll look at a name and go, they've already got somebody they know that will want it, and that person is prepared to pay £500 to £1,200 for it straight away.
I know it's a interesting business model that it's one that I think obviously a lot of people could easily get involved in and make a lot of money going forward if what you're saying, domains are only going to go up in price. So it's something you probably should start to learn. I mean, is there anywhere, I know you've been in the game for a long time, but is there a course or anywhere you would recommend that somebody can go to, or is it just a case of talking to loads of guys and finding your feet?
It's like everything else, Craig. You've like when you first start out doing certain things, you go into the forums, you learn. One or two folk might sort of lead you astray the wrong way, but it's reading all like everything else. When you're doing SEO, you read all the SEO books and everything else. You get to know all that stuff, and it's just a case of building up that knowledge, getting one or two flips under your belt, so and building up confidence, and you then start to find out. You look. I mean, I look at a domain and I go, yeah, I like that. I'll buy it. I like that. I'll
Yeah.
buy it. And I'm surprised when I was doing the talk at your event. I was being honest when I was saying I bought that name for $10. I bought that name for $10. Those
Yeah.
domains to me are £25,000 names.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the value that I put on those kind of names. It's so to me it's learning over the years, reading about the domains, and when you start getting into domains, that's when you realise it's one hell of an exciting sort of trend. If you take it just now, like VAP sort of stuff is quite big. Cannabis oil stuff is massive in the States because they've legalised cannabis. So all of a sudden, cannabis names flew massively
Yeah.
because they're all legal. And obviously that might happen across here, I don't know. So there's certain, you can follow certain trends and go, right, I better grab one or two of them. And if you grab them before it becomes the main trend, then it goes, you're sitting there with what I call basically a golden nugget. It's like, as I said to you, we noticed a trend for adult only hotel. We bought the name. I know, so I bought that for registration fee. We've had a few wee offers on that, but I need to do something with that. So there's always nice names that I've picked up for registration fee, like Magaluf Hotel, Santa Ponsa Hotel. I just picked up 6 weeks ago Cote d'Azur Hotel, or was it hotel.com, 17-year-old domain. Absolutely love it. So I love picking up names like that. Or names like Monaco Jewellery, Monaco Car Sales, Monaco Car Hire. It's picking up those nice wee names that you can easily flip for, 1,500 to 5,000 easily if I
Aye.
wanted to,
It's I think obviously that kind of level is always a lot more affordable as well for other people. But I buy domain names as well, as I've told you, for SEO reasons, and I do get some bargains for 12 quid and whatever as well, some crackers, and obviously it's preying on people's lack of knowledge. Really, the uneducated are not taking advantage of their niches and. I'm quite happy to swoop in and do it, but as I say, I don't buy and sell domain names as such. But that's an interesting topic. Is that all you do all the time? Like just buy domain names, build websites, sell them, make money off them. That's it. That is your whole business model.
My whole business model's changed again, Craig. No, I've got geo names, as you know, and I've got a lot of hotel names. And one of the things that, obviously, yeah, we still build and develop, but one of the things that we started doing was looking more into the location that we're interested in, if you know what I mean. So we go and visit the place and then see if we want to buy the domain name, and then when we come back, we will go and buy the domain name because we've been to the area, we've walked the streets, we've saw the restaurants, the bars, the nightlife, and then we'll come back and make an offer for the name. And sometimes we might be lucky that the domain hasn't been registered, which, you sit there and go, right, so this place has got mega yachts, it's got restaurants, it's got bars, and nobody's thought of registering the names, because here's the advantages of being in the UK is most Americans stick to America, although they went away back in the early days, they registered all the city.com names and stuff like that. Most Europeans buy the domain names that are registered in their language, but English is the international language. Chinese are looking for English names as well. So that allows us to buy names like, as I said to you, we started off visiting Carcassonne Castle. We came back, we bought carcassonnecastle.com. We then went down the second time down to a wee place called Adge. We bought Cap d'Adge Hotel, Cap d'Adge Hotels, which is a big marina in a nudist colony at the other side. So we've worked along for the Cap d'Adge's Cap d'Al. We bought Cap d'Al Hotel, and then etc. etc. We've worked way along the French and Spanish coast, like the Balearics and that as well, and Tenerife, like Mas Palmos Hotel, Costa Deca Hotel, stuff like that. So picking up beautiful wee names like that, will always get us hotel bookings, will get us airport transfers, it'll get us a lot of other stuff. And that's the reason why I like these kind of names. And I'm building a network, so we're actually building, how do I put it? Let's say 50 hotel websites, 150 car hire sites. So when you have all that all built up and connected, the same as what we've been doing with Glasgow, my Glasgow network will be ready in 2020 sometime. But that'll be something like 90 sites that are all interconnected right across the board. And when you have all that linkage and all that traffic together, that's when it all starts really kicking in.
Aye, no, it's as I say, it's always an interesting model, and obviously speaking to other people who attended the last Glasgow SEO meetup, the loads of people were like, I liked his talk, I liked his ideas, I liked how he was going about doing it. But obviously, it's no quite as easy as going on a wee holiday and grabbing the domain name. Obviously, that you've got to have pockets, you've got to have money to be able to do it. You've obviously got to have the skills to know how to monetize it as well. Whereas I think a lot of people just, sometimes maybe take what you say, and because you're an expert at it, think it's got to be easy and everyone can replicate that. And it's not quite as easy as that. I know it's a fairly easy business model when you know how, but I think what goes on behind the scenes in terms of the countless hours that you look at, your domain names and all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of hard work that goes on in the background. And
oh, definitely, Craig. I mean, sometimes I'm up at 2 and 3 in the morning, and then I'll go for like 3 hours kip. And then I'm back up at 6 and 7 looking at, because something will happen during the night, and I'll go, right. You'll like this. Well, I'll give you an example. My 2 latest domain names that I bought was quite crazy. I was driving along the expressway, and there was best brewery, the West brewery, the German beer, the Glasgow stuff, advertising St Mungo, right?
Mhm.
And I goes, I wonder who owns St Mungo. I came back up the road. Yeah, sure enough, nobody had registered stmungo.com. So for $10, I went and registered St Mungo. And so I'm sitting there going, right, so I've now got St Mungo. And then last week I registered stenoch.com, right? Because I already discovered that I already own a few saint names, because I own St Wolfgang, which is a ski resort, St Jonas, which is another ski resort in the Austrian Swiss Alps, and St Gothen or something like that. So I'm now building up a collection of saint names, which, I was saying to somebody last week, I says, I think I'll start buying up all the saint names now. I says, just think of all that traffic.
It's weird that you say that. I've actually got the West Brewery in here the day for training in my office after you seen that. But I actually got a domain name just driving about, and it was my local football team. I'm not sure whether you're a Rangers or a Celtic man, but I randomly just tried ibrookstadium.co.uk.
Nice one.
It's available, and I'm like, as a Rangers fan, that's quite a cool. I'll probably never make money with it, but it's quite a cool one to be able to grab hold of, and as I say, maybe put on some local stuff there, or whatever for travelling fans, some information and a bit of history about the stadium and that. But I think sometimes driving about, you do just things pop into your head and give you ideas. But one last question I want to ask you, Tommy, is, a guy like me, I've been buying domain names for years and years and years, and I would honestly, hand on heart, say 80% of my domain purchases I've never even put a website on, and I've been paying for years and years and years of renewing, and I'll say to myself, I'm going to do something with that this year, and I never do. I mean, what's a guy like you, in terms of wastage, in terms of wasted money? How much of your domains just lie about doing nothing?
Do you know, that is a brilliant question, Craig, and I'm glad you answered it, because that is the dilemma of most domainers, right? Because most domainers don't know how to build a website, they don't know how to develop. And most of the, and that's why you've got we've not even talked about parking domains and stuff like that yet, if you know what I mean. So one of the things is that when I get into this industry, I went and done a course on HTML so I could, get taught how to take Notepad and build websites from scratch, right? But if you go back 20 years ago, we would have talks about, how would the future work, and the future would work by there'll be somebody will create something where you can automatically just rattle up your own websites, right? And we knew 20 years later, if you look at all the companies that are sitting there, especially with WordPress plugins and everything else, like Beaver Builder and all the sort of stuff that all these programs you can use where you just create the website overnight, add in the content and stuff like that. That to me is what domainers should be doing, and I've always done that. I've always built, all your stuff used to be PHP built specifically for each one of the sites, and it would be annoying, and because then when you would build it, you would then have to discover that, right, can we get it to do that? Can we get it to do that? So sometimes you're spending 9 months of the year on R&D building all these things out, and then like 6 months later they're practically out of date. So I was at the domain conference in the States, and Matt, the guy that owns WordPress, was talking. He was one of the key speaker. And I made the choice there and then to scrap everything, start again from scratch, and move over to WordPress. And I'm loving it because I'm actually sitting at night time. Now, I'm not an SEO guy, but I'll need to get a couple of tips after yourself. And I'm sitting there going, right, okay, it's been a long time since I've went into coding and stuff like that. But even doing the basics and starting to get the stuff up, I'm sitting there going, let's get all my names up. And then over the year, let's keep adding to them, monetizing them, sorting them all out. And I'm enjoying that, Craig. I'm absolutely enjoying it. So it's like a canvas where I'm sitting painting like 300 websites at the one time. And then I'll get fed up with one because that's what happens. Then I'll go and work on another one. And then I'll go back and work on them again. And over a period of 6 months, what happens is they all start to form together and you start building up that network. And I think that's what I love doing. And I think that's what domainers should do with their core assets. Because like yourself, I've probably ditched in the last 3 years about 900 .co.uk's, which I had owned since 1999. And I'd done that for one simple reason, was the price jumped up from £2.50 to a fiver, I think. And then they were bringing out the .uk. So that meant overnight, basically what was happening was your .co.uk became more expensive than a .com, yet the .com's more expensive. It's cheaper, but when you go, is more valuable than a .co.uk. And I looked at it, and if you're in the tourism business and you're hoping to get business from overseas, you need a .com. A .co.uk will not do the trick. So although I'd done it, and I never even bothered selling the names, I let them drop, and some of them were fantastic names that I had for 17, 18 years, because it would have distracted me from what I was doing. And I'm now down to about 52 .co.uk's, and probably, I've got about 800 .coms, and I'm loving the fact that I've got the .coms, because the .coms are the ones that I want, and I'm more focused on what I'm buying these days.
Aye.
And I think that's it, focus.
Aye, focus, and as I say, I was wild. If a guy phoned me, a plumber in Glasgow, for example, phoned me back in the day, I would go out and buy every plumber and it'd be plumbers Ayrshire, plumbers Edinburgh. I wouldn't even buy just Glasgow. I would buy everywhere, because I thought I'm going to take over the world. And and it was mad. I must have wasted probably hundreds of thousands actually on domains that were just crazy. Sometimes sitting there with a few beers in me, and you just look up and see what's available. You just go, you're watching a TV program, and then you start doing stuff. But I've got a quick tip for you, and I don't know if you do this already. But what I tend to do with domain names that I'm building out, like see what you're doing, putting some content up and stuff.
Yeah.
What I tend to do is go to YouTube and get a video about the subject. So say it's I do hotel affiliate stuff as well.
Yep.
And if you go to put in anything in YouTube like hotel reviews or hotels in Glasgow reviews or whatever it might be, there'll be some crazy person there who's done a 10-minute video showing off like the Hilton Hotel in Glasgow, for example, and they'll show you their room, their toilet, and everything else. What I do is whack that through a website called rev.com, rev.com.
Yeah, I'm going to take a wee note of that.
So rev.com transcribes videos into text. It costs you $1 a minute per transcription. A 5-minute video is going to be about 1,000 words for you. So see if you get a 10-minute video, it will cost you $10 and you've got 2,000 words all about the Hilton in Glasgow. Put that on your hotel website and you've got 2,000 words, very specific to what you're doing. And then obviously at the bottom of it, you can slap on a button, book here now, or whatever it may be. Because the costs of content and obviously the costs of doing what you're doing, trying to put stuff on domain names is the big factor, because you're not always going to get a return on investment in some of your websites. So trying to do it at the lowest possible cost is what I do. And obviously, I think freshness of content and stuff on your websites is going to help those metrics and rankings and everything else. So I think it's obviously quite an important thing to be doing, and that's one wee trick that
Thank you very much for that, Craig. Yep, love that. I'll give that a wee try. No, I totally agree with you, because that is the dilemma that domainers have, and probably what you said there, that 99% of domainers went down that road of, all right, I'll go for that one. All right, let's capture the whole world, the megalomaniac, and then they're sitting there going, and it's not getting registered on all the domains. It's a problem. It's you can park the domains as and that'll earn you revenue, but even looking at the revenue of parking has, I think, decreased by about 80% over the last 10 years, if you know what I mean. So that to me is why it's you've got to come up with other ways of doing it. Ideally, we've started trying to do deals directly with firms, because we feel as if that's one way forward. But those firms are still, excuse me, dinosaurs. I mean, the hotel industry, my God, man, they're still at dinosaur mode when it comes to online.
I think a lot of people still are. Unless you're dealing with other digital marketers, you're up against it. But I think, in terms of parking the domain names, is that just AdSense and stuff, like you're getting money?
No, but what happens is it's the sort of thing that Google doesn't like to talk about, right? But Google earns quite a lot of its cash with all the domains that most of the domainers are own. And we're talking about millions of domains here, by the way. We're not talking about a couple 100,000, we're talking in the millions. And you've probably came across the part page where you'll have the links on it. There'll be 5 or 6 links on it, just with the keywords, and you click that and it takes you to that website. So basically what that is that's a regurgitated Google AdSense, but put on a landing page, if you know what I mean. So the person clicks that and they can earn anything from 30 pence to, if it was melanoma cancer, well, you look at the click rate of melanoma cancer, and I think it's at between $5,000 and $2,000 per click. So if you're then getting a percentage of that, that's there's a lot of guys that's what they do as part of the domains, and they've got the part page tuned very, very well that they'll earn. They don't need to do anything. And you've got guys that are sitting there with 5,000, 10,000, 100,000 domain names, and that's all they sit and do all day, and they earn mega millions for them. So there's a whole industry that a lot of folk don't really know about, because Google doesn't want you to know about it, if you know what I mean, because that's how they make their sort of a good chunk of their revenue.
So you mean to tell me that all the domain names I've got sitting doing absolutely fuck all could be making me money?
Yes. Yep.
Interesting. I'll need to do a bit more research.
That's another thing about You know, I mean, my original slides was like 26 slides, and the wife went, "You cannot do a presentation." I went, "But that's me explaining the industry." And she went, "You need to cut it down to 6 or 7." I went, "All right, okay." So
It's
it's the whole thing, Craig. When you look at the whole economy of the web, you know, like because with the part pages, you're then getting into the affiliate side, the affiliate marketing sort of side there. Which again, some affiliate companies are good, some are bad. So it's, as you know yourself, it's what's good and what's bad with regards to doing all this stuff online, as earning online businesses sort of cash with regards to creating a business where they can run for the comfort of their home or whatever, and they can also run a business based here, but they can run a business in the States, they can run a business in Australia, they can run a business in China, they can run a business in South America, all based for the comfort of being in their own home or their own office.
Aye, no, it's interesting. Obviously, I've just learned something new there. I had no idea that those part pages could make you a few quid.
Yep.
Actually, kicking myself now because even if it paid for my domain names,
Which it
I
probably
never
would.
get round to. Aye,
Yep.
just because I never get round to doing it, and I was just like, when you get you'll know yourself when you get the renewal through for all the domain names that you bought on a day, it's so cheap. Do you know what I mean? It's you're like just hundreds of pounds all the time, and you're like, Jesus, I'm not doing into these. It's just a killer. I could go on holidays with that money or whatever. But even if they were paying for their sale, it would have been a good or a much better business model. But I'm over it, to be honest. I don't have anywhere near as much as I used to. Try and just try to narrow it down to the money sites that I've got, and I'll buy the odd domain name here or there. I think as the older you get, the more refined you get. I'm pretty sure you were probably the same back in the day as well, just buying any old crap and in the hope that you were going to dominate the world. But aye, it's
I totally agree with you, Craig. One of the names that I remember first registering was molecular structures. And I was like that to the wife because I went into an old file for 2001 and I had all my domains. And I was going, what the hell was I doing registering molecular structures back in 2001? You know, it's like, because what was happening is you were in that folder where you were reading all the scientific news, you were looking for the latest trends, because if you got that name that was going to become the, like mobile phone or whatever else, a selfie, it's, that's how intense you get into it, if you know what I mean. Um, and if you look at it now, probably VAP names or FAP legal names are starting to become quite popular, especially in the States, because they're now realising that VAP is culling people and there'll be claims there as well with regards to personal injury, etc., if you know, negligence or whatever. So it's going to be interesting. It's always good because there's always somebody creates a word that becomes a buzzword, and before you know it, that name becomes worth a couple of 100,000 straight away. And if you're clever enough to get rid of it at the right time before it hits the peak, you know what I mean? Somebody will buy it up. So no, it's just the domains always change. It's really really good. But one of the reasons I'll emphasise why I wasn't a big fan of part pages was because under Google's own terms, a part page doesn't constitute a website, and a website's got to have a minimum 3 pages. So
mhm.
I always thought that that was flawed because if the part page consisted of 3 pages, I would have been happy with that. But under Google's own rules, a part page must constitute 3 pages. And I thought that that was flawed in the first place. Going way back when I used to, when I was reading up on it. But
I
don't
think
get me wrong, I done well with part pages because, like you say, if you're getting paid monthly and you're getting in and going, oh, somebody's went to Glasgow pubs and we done this and that, and you're getting paid just for click throughs, it's a fantastic business. It was a fantastic business model.
I think as long as it's paying for itself, then you can't argue with it. But sadly, Tommy, we're at the hour mark, so
Yep.
that has been. I think there's been a lot of good nuggets in there, but I'd be more than happy to get you back on again in the future and obviously talk about something different or the internal processes you've got and stuff. Because I think when you talk, a lot of people listen and they love hearing all that experience. It's really good to have. But for anybody who does want to talk to you or reach out to you or hire you or buy one of your domains, how do people find you?
Well, they can follow me on the Twitter. I'm normally on the @Glasgow Twitter account, just @Glasgow. My email address, my Gmail address is domainscott@gmail or tommy@glasgow.com. I'm always willing, Craig, to sit and grab a coffee with somebody who wants to learn, because I've learned from a lot of brilliant people over the years with business things and stuff like that. So I'm quite happy to sit and grab a coffee with somebody and get them the best that I can, get them advice. As I say to somebody, sometimes it's better sitting with somebody for 10 minutes, half an hour, and you'll learn a lot more for that person in that 10 minutes instead of trying to do it yourself.
Exactly, and I think there's no shame in certainly going to people for advice either. We all do it, we all need it, and as I say, I've been out for coffee with Tommy before, and you can just pick up wee golden nuggets. And I think obviously getting out your house in this industry, you're sitting in your house, looking at domains all day. It's nice to get out and about and network anyway. So give Tommy a shout. He's also on Facebook and stuff like that as well, or I can put you in touch if you can't find them or whatever. But thanks again, Tommy, for coming on and sharing all that.
Thanks, Craig. Absolutely enjoyed it, and I did enjoy the talk as well at your conference, because I hadn't done a talk in probably about 3 or 4 years, so I was a wee bit nervous, but I absolutely love it, and I really do appreciate what you're trying to do for the community in Scotland as well. Taking the time and the effort to put all these events on, because it's a lot of hard work doing all this, and it's about time Scotland had a sort of digital conference with regards to SEO, domains and everything else. So I know all the hard work that you're putting into it, and all the hours that you're doing it, and you're not getting paid for it. So everybody should get along to at least one of the events that Craig's putting on.
Aye, no, it's always good, and cheers for the good feedback. I think it's always good to hang about and have beers and all that as well. People loosen up and open up a bit as well. So, aye, get along.